Cousin has probably lost his job or has a lot of trouble there. Apparently, his boss caught wind of the fact that he vandalized our cars and was caught on camera. Don't know how he found out and, frankly, don't care. Boss is not happy at all. From the family members that don't have a no-contact order against us, we hear the two different tales. What I know for certain is that at Cousin's job, the stunt he pulled got him into serious trouble. We also have a temporary no-contact order against him. Damages are set to be fixed in 2 weeks' time. Cousin has been told the amount of damages he has caused. He can pay for it out of his own pocket, as of course insurance companies don't pay for idiots destroying other people's cars. He will also see the inside of a courtroom in either August or September. We also found out how he found our cars. His friend lives in the same neighborhood as we. We didn't know this. Cousin seemed to have told his friend his version of events, and his buddy told us he saw us in the neighborhood. Wonder what friend thinks now, after what Cousin did. As for the lawsuit, let's get the people clear. L equals lawyer friend. BL, blabbermouth's lawyer. My dear lawyer friend has had his batch of cookies, and he loved them. He also replied to blabbermouth's lawyer, sending some of what he had on text, voicemail, and emails, with the note that if Blabbermouth didn't drop the lawsuit, we would counterfile and demand compensation of whatever kind. There are people who thought that Blabbermouth lied to her lawyer. She, of course, did. She told a bunch of lies and decided to fabricate evidence to prove it. Lawyer saw it. Blabbermouth's lawyer didn't like it and dropped them as clients. I can't help but wanting to be a fly on the wall when Blabbermouth's lawyer told Blabbermouth that. Let's see what she'll do next. I'm halfway wondering if I should get a popcorn and a soda for this. Hey people, I have another update on Entitled Cousin, or EC for short. He's the douche canoe that said I should bend to the will of the family. I'm out of ideas for a nickname. Lawyer friend is also mentioned. We're still waiting for the court meeting, but some charges are being added next to vandalism and destruction of personal property. No, he didn't scratch our cars or slashed our tires this time. Smart man. Instead, he got to meet Frou Frou, our neighbor's dog, and our neighbor, N. As it is summer, hubby and I decided to go on a holiday in our own country again. Due to virus, we don't feel going abroad to our holiday home. We are vaccinated, although our children are not. We had a blast. Kids could go to the pool a couple of times, had to make reservations, and made friends with the other kids. Halfway through our holiday, we got a call. Little big brother, younger but taller than me, of mine called to tell that Entitled Cousin had been arrested. Again. This time, the douche canoe actually found our home. And you lovely people can try and guess what he did. Did he throw rocks through the windows? Nope. Did he spray graffiti on the house? Again, nope. No. Mr. Smarty Pants tried breaking in. Our home has a big wooden fence around our backyard, but the position of the wooden planks make it impossible, or at least very difficult to climb them. Entitled Cousin had come in the dead of the night, early morning hours, and used a ladder to climb the fence. So he's in our backyard now, tools in hand. He starts getting busy trying to open our back door. Good luck with that. Our neighbor walks Frou Frou quite early in the morning. So neighbor takes Frou Frou out for his first walk to poop for the day, quite early. Our neighborhood loves the guy and his loyal friend. More than once he has found people at homes who should not be there. Neighbor and Frou Frou walk and find themselves looking at a ladder standing against the fence of my house. Neighbor knows the situation and that we are not at home. Neighbor hears some noise at our back door and realizes what is happening. So what does he do? He lets Frou Frou climb the ladder and jump into our yard. Frou Frou sees Entitled Cousin and starts growling. Who is Frou Frou? Frou Frou is the sweet, caring, funny, big and protective as heck cane corso of neighbors. How did he get the name Frou Frou? Well, neighbor's wife loves Beauty and the Beast, and the little dog turned sweet has the name Frou Frou. So Entitled Cousin sees Frou Frou, who is not amused at seeing a stranger in his yard. Entitled Cousin is apparently not so smart and throws a couple of tools in Frou Frou's direction. Frou Frou is having none of it, barks and charges. Entitled Cousin barely manages to climb on a table before Frou Frou gets to him. Frou Frou is a trained dog, so he doesn't bite until ordered to. Meanwhile, neighbor is standing on the ladder, pissing his pants at the girly screams of Entitled Cousin while calling the guys and gals in blue. Entitled Cousin is taken away in the back of a police car and has to stay in jail until his hearing. Lawyer demanded that he not be released until his hearing. The no-contact order is apparently not sufficient to keep him away. We managed to send the security footage to the legal people involved. Frou-Frou got some nice doggy snacks, and neighbor and his wife were also thanked. I have to admit one thing, though. When we got back, the kids went to spend the night at their friends for some slumber party time. Hubby and I went to watch the footage. It was gold. And yes, we grabbed ourselves some drinks and a popcorn to watch it, again and again. I don't have a lot of aunts and uncles left, plenty of cousins though, as Dad had 6 sisters who all had children. Only 4 cousins are younger than I am. I haven't spoken to them in like 20 years, and the only times I have spoken with them was at a funeral of one of the aunts and uncles. I have no relationship with them. I received several messages of cousins who heard through a lot of people that I had money. When I read this, I was mentally preparing for yet another crap storm. Yep, they were pissed. They wanted to know why I didn't tell anyone. One of them ranted and raved about how unfair everything was, and I could have let them know, and yada yada yada. When she finally was done, I asked, perhaps rather rudely, if she was done and if I could explain. I made one group, and I wrote the whole story of what was happening in that group. I ended with the words, in bold, underlined, and huge letters. This is why I never told you. Several were shocked that what happened did happen. I asked them why they were upset I didn't tell them. No one really answered that until I said that maybe because they wanted to benefit from it. Some, no way, and how can you think that of us? I answered that the reason I think is because of all the crap that has hit my fan. I have lost a lot of trust in people in general because of this. To make a long story short, a couple of them asked if they could get, not borrow, some money. Others said they would like to borrow some if possible. I uploaded a document that certified loan cousin and I had signed. I told them that what was stated in the document were the rules. They could read it or not. One cousin asked if I could give him a call. I did. Turns out his daughter has a severe illness. Without treatment, she'll likely die. There is a treatment in the US that could help her. Chances remain slim, but if it is a success, his daughter might live, and live a somewhat good quality of life. Unfortunately, the treatment is not paid for by the insurance company. I didn't trust it after so many stories and asked for details. He asked if I could come and visit. His daughter was in the hospital. He didn't lie one bit. God, that girl. She's in her early 20s, but still, tubes and monitors everywhere. Books on bed as she tried to do some homework. I could almost see death standing at her shoulder, waiting. She was so... We had a talk, and eventually her attending doctor came in and explained a bit. Later, I went to the doctor to his office, and he explained the rest. I went home afterwards. We verified the doctor's name, field, etc. Cousin and I talked again on the phone. I told him I hadn't made a decision yet and wanted to know if they wanted the money for medical costs only. He confirmed that. His wife, mother of said daughter, would go to the US, and they had money to cover her expenses. It would be tight, but they wanted only the money for the medical costs. Hubby and I talked, and we agreed. We agreed to help, but again with strict rules. We would only pay the amount that we were given. The US hospital gave them a number. We would pay the hospital directly and other important details. Only thing we asked in return is that in the event of success and failure, they would put a certain amount of money towards research and installments if necessary. Lawyer friend drew up the contract and asked another lawyer to review it. This lawyer is specialized in the medical field. I called cousin again. I told him that I had thoroughly examined the entire situation. I had been played and lied to. I was attacked in many ways, and I had lost my trust in people. I thanked him for his honesty in the situation and commented how hard it must be. I then asked him if his wife was listening. She wasn't, but he put her on speakerphone. I then told them this news. The only thing I heard were tears, cries, and thank yous. I told them that I had strict rules and sent them the draft of the document. I asked them to ask a lawyer or maybe the hospital lawyer to review it. If they agreed, we could sign the document. Later, their daughter called me. Same story as her parents. I just hope that this time around, the money will do good. Her doctor contacted me, and we are going to arrange the financial details once the contract has been signed between my cousin and I. Other family members of mine have done the greedy grab hands. No was the simple answer, alongside the number of the investment advisor. Told them good luck and blocked the beggars. I don't worry as much as them finding out where I live. My parents, brother and his wife, my sister-in-law, can win a tight lip contest with an oyster. I have an update once more on the whole saga. I don't know if more updates will follow, but if something happens, I will post here. The good news is that most family members have stopped bothering me and hubby. Eldest has a social media account that we go through together, and he has received some nasty things on that. Eldest blocked them, reported them, and thanks to our dear lawyer friend, who sent some letters, it got relatively quiet once again. Those without a no-contact order in place have suddenly reached out more often. People hubby or I haven't spoken to with in years contact us more often. We keep it polite and pleasant. Entitled cousin had to pay several fines, damages, and has 2 years of probation. He tried to threaten us again. We told him Frou-Frou would love to meet him again. Blabbermouth knows in which town we live now. Entitled cousin seems to have told her. We have seen her around town. We hope she stays away as per the no-contact order. The bad news is about my cousin with the sick daughter. SD will be the sick daughter, and DSD will be my cousin, her dad. MSD will be the mom, wife of my cousin. She was eventually allowed to go home for a while, although with a lot of equipment, medication and such. But hey, everyone was happy sick daughter was home for a little while. Since the beginning of the pandemic, sick daughter quarantined and rarely went out. Same goes for sick daughter's dad and sick daughter's mom. They hardly allowed visitors over. Their elder children quarantined, tested themselves before coming over, and wore masks when they came over, etc. They took every measure to heart. They were warned that virus could be the death of her. The times they went out were times that they knew places would be quiet and people were scarce. They took some sort of subscription to get groceries delivered to their house on a weekly basis. The driver, bless his heart, found out about the situation and even went as far as to disinfect and mask himself, even though he only put the groceries at the door. He also wiped the handles of the crates and bags. Sick daughter's mom and dad managed to work from home the entire time. It was hard on them. I will cut the story short. Sick daughter died. She contracted virus and due to her already weak immune system, she passed away. She didn't contact it from her parents or siblings. They tested regularly just to be on the safe side. The likely source, a relative of sick daughter's mother. The guy was someone who didn't take it seriously. He went someplace, got symptoms afterwards. He went to get himself tested because his boss didn't want him at a job site without a negative test. Relative works in construction. Well, wouldn't you know, he tested positive. Health services explained what he had to do. His boss did the same. Boss would keep paying him. Relative had to stay at home in quarantine. Back to the story. Sick daughter's mother and dad had troubles with some leak. Sick daughter's room was next to the bathroom, and they had been seeing some wet spots in her bedroom wall. Figuring it was a leak, they called this relative. Asked him if he had time. They explained the situation, and they asked him to take the precautions. He said he would take precautions. Told them he had tested negative on a test. Maybe he thought that since he couldn't work, he could do this instead, earn some extra cash. He had come into sick daughter's room to get some things done and took his mask off several times to cough, saying it was so hot and he needed fresh air. He was reminded every time to get that thing back on. He was asked to leave and not to return after a couple of times. The leak was found and taken care of with a temporary fix. A couple of days later, sick daughter got very sick and had to be transported to the hospital. She tested positive. She died there. To say people are devastated is an understatement. Sick daughter's dad called me in tears a couple days after her passing. His tears were enough to know what had happened. In the background, I could hear sick daughter's mother screaming. It turns out she was calling her relative about her daughter's death, and he informed her that he was positive the time he was there to help them fix things. My cousin said goodbye quickly and went to deal with that situation. I don't know what happened afterwards. Only thing I know is that sick daughter's mother cursed and yelled at him for lying, whilst knowing that sick daughter was sick and virus was a real threat to her. We did get an invite for her online funeral service. Hubby and I both attended. We sent some flowers and a card. This was almost 2 months ago. Sick daughter's dad video called last night. This wasn't a man anymore, more of a shell. Still so lost after the loss of his daughter, his only daughter. His wife, they are not doing great at all. It was heartbreaking and devastating to see them. We talked about the funds. They wanted to thank us anyway. We told them we wanted to donate the amount for research. They were glad we wanted to do so. So that's the update. Sooner than I would have wanted, and not with the news I had hopes of sharing. Stay safe, people, and I hope you have a good and, above all, healthy holiday season. Oh, Lord, that is beyond heartbreaking. Your poor cousin and his wife, and the sheer selfishness of that relative. I can't even begin to understand how the anger must be affecting their grief.